My 36 female, husband, 40 male, suddenly changed for the better 2 years ago, but no one shares my concerns that about how odd it is that he dramatically became a different person overnight because all his changes were positive. My partner cheated on me, but I feel like he is getting more support and I am getting more blame. It's a cliché, but my wedding was legitimately one of the happiest days of my life. Now all that's left of it is a receipt from Goodwill.
Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started.
My 36 female, husband, 40 male, suddenly changed for the better 2 years ago, but no one shares my concerns that about how odd it is that he dramatically became a different person overnight because all his changes were positive. When I married my husband, I knew that he was an overweight, lazy video game nerd, and I loved him anyway for his warm heart and kind personality. He detested exercise, stayed a low rank at his career because he put in minimum effort, and we bonded more over activities like watching movies together at home rather than going out. He went on this camping trip with his friends 2 years ago, and did shrooms. He had never done drugs before, and had he consulted me I would have told him that was a terrible idea, and when he came home, it was like something had lit a fire under his butt. He completely changed interests. He never played video games again and took up running, reading books even though I'd never seen him read before except for school, and several other completely random hobbies. He became a vegetarian even though, before, he'd been a meat and potatoes guy. He worked harder at his job, then did an accelerated grad school program and ended up making tons more money. I barely recognize him. We still have a good marriage, and I still love him, and he has motivated me to be better in the last 2 years, but I can't help but wonder if those drugs knocked a screw loose. Could this be dangerous? I'm deeply concerned. I know that people change, but about all that's left of him is his warm heart. No one shares my concerns because all his changes have been positive, but I feel like he's so different. Maybe we need marriage counseling so I can adapt, at least. My partner cheated on me, but I feel like he is getting more support and I am getting more blame. I, 30 male, have been with my fiancé, 33 male, for over 5 years and got engaged earlier this year. We were in an open relationship, but everything had to be approved ahead of time. He went away for a month for work and wanted to hook up with someone. I wasn't super comfortable with it, but he guilted me into agreeing. We set boundaries of what was allowed and what wasn't, and he broke all of those boundaries and lied to me about it, and so I consider that cheating. When he got back I asked him to cut contact with this person, but he refused, saying they are friends and I cannot control who is he friends with. We agreed to close the relationship and see a therapist. Through talking to the therapist, we uncovered deeper problems and that he did what he did because he was unhappy with certain parts of our relationship. I have been working hard for the past few weeks to try to be a better partner, but I also found out that he has been continuing to talk to the guy this whole time when he agreed to stop while we were in therapy. After I found out I was really upset and he agreed to cut contact but wasn't happy about it. We had another session with the therapist yesterday, and when he told her I made him cut contact, she said that was a red flag that I made him do it. This comment is what has been bothering me the whole time. To me it was a no-brainer. If he cheated on me, he needs to cut contact with that person if we want to continue the relationship. So the red flag for me was him not agreeing to it and fighting it so hard. I feel like after everything that happened, I'm taking all the blame for not being a good partner to cause him to cheat, and he is receiving more support than me. And I know I need to be better, and I've been trying hard, while he was still talking to them behind my back. And being told that making him cut contact was a red flag really upset me and is making me question whether that was a reasonable thing to want now. I feel like I just want some support and some validation for how I feel, and I have not been able to get that from anyone. It's a cliché, but my wedding was legitimately one of the happiest days of my life. Now all that's left of it is a receipt from Goodwill. Throwaway account. Tried to post a picture of the receipt but couldn't figure out how. Whatevs. After spending Thanksgiving alone for the first time in 14 years, D-Day was this past May, I decided to stay with my parents for Christmas. On the dresser of the room where I stayed I found this donation receipt from Goodwill. I need to tell someone what it means to me. We got married in 2015 after dating for 9 years. We wanted our special day to reflect who we were, something unique. We ended up hosting an outdoor wedding on my brother's wife's farm in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. It's a physically beautiful place that held a special place in our hearts. We used to travel there with friends every summer over July 4th, listen to baseball on the radio, swim, visit with my brother's wife's parents and elderly grandparents, and generally take a pause to feel at peace. It was a very handmade wedding. We hand-painted all these shabby chic signs out of barn wood and old windows. We used these to point the way to the restroom, and to label our, and our dogs, signature drinks. Mine was Kentucky bourbon, my pups were root beer and lemonade, respectively. We wrote our own vows and a mutual friend officiated. We walked down the aisle with our dogs. My brothers and my dad provided music for the ceremony, Long Long Long, by the Beatles. After the ceremony, we buzzed around the tent where our friends and family noshed on pasties and barbecued pork. We were so busy visiting with our guests, neither of us got a chance to eat. I gave my speech with my arm around my father-in-law. I talked about how in the old days a marriage was a celebration not just of the joining of two people, but the joining of two families. I talked about how happy I was that my family had just doubled in size. It's kind of a bullshit cliche that your wedding is the happiest day of your life. In that moment, for me, I think it was. After dinner we moved to the ramshackle dance floor we'd assembled in an outdoor tent. No DJ, just a Spotify playlist we'd spent weeks putting together, making sure to include all our individual favorite songs, as well as those that had specific meaning to us as a couple. The dance began with Closer by Tegan and Sara. We danced until we collapsed, no exaggeration, to the final song, Dimed Out by Titus Andronicus. The next day, it dawned on us that we hadn't made a plan to clean up. We were supposed to leave on our honeymoon, driving around Lake Superior in the RV we'd rented for the occasion. Instead, we ended up washing dishes. But it was fine. My parents stayed to help. They packed up all of the keepsakes, our hand-painted signs, and brought them home for safekeeping in their basement. It was understood that these artifacts were treasures. Fast forward to this year. I tell my parents that she had an affair with a coworker, and then started a new relationship with a different guy while she was begging me to reconcile. My mom was pissed. She said all the wedding stuff was going to Goodwill. It didn't really hit me till I saw that donation receipt sitting on the dresser. It's all gone. All that time, love, the warm feelings, my newly enlarged family, the memories that were supposed to be treasures for the rest of our lives, it was all just an enclosed trailer load, like the receipt says. All those treasures are now sitting in a Goodwill to be squinted at by people who will never know what those things once meant. All that's left is a little slip of paper, sitting on a dresser in the house where I grew up.